Scrum requires a cross-functional, self-managing Scrum team to produce usable done increments each sprint. For many traditional organizations, enabling this is a significant challenge. In many larger traditional organizations, people are organized into teams with a specialist skill set. Work is managed and handed off to these specialist teams. Each team has its own culture, practices, standards, and priorities. These teams will work on many different initiatives at the same time. The volume of work will mean that management of the work and the people is essential. Here are some of the challenges that are inherent with this traditional approach. Significant dependencies will arise between the teams, which will lead to delays. Specialist teams will seek to optimize their work, which may lead to unnecessary delays at product level. Specialist teams will be managing large volumes of work and regularly shifting priorities. This is another form of waste. It will be challenging for the people in these teams to feel connected to the end user or customer and see the value of their work when it's only a small part of a bigger product. When work for one product has been spread to many specialist teams, it will be hard to understand the true current state of the product. Full testing of the product will be impossible until the work of all of these teams has been integrated into a cohesive product, and this often occurs late in the product development effort. Where issues cross-cut a number of specialist teams, communication may be challenging, as people who are not familiar with each other and have different goals, motivations, and interests will need to find ways to collaborate. Where this goes wrong, an us versus them blame culture may result. Change will be difficult under these conditions. A change in direction for the product may lead to significant waste and frustration as work is abandoned by some teams who are working in advance of others. Ultimately, transparency will be low, risk will be high, and change will be difficult. The realization of value will be delayed. Developing products under these conditions is difficult and prone to failure. Scrum requires a different approach in order to mitigate these issues. In Scrum, we have developers who have the skills that would have been present in each of these specialist teams. We develop the product iteratively and incrementally, rather than as a single large entity. The developers are empowered to manage their own work and take responsibility for developing done increments each sprint. This is intended to enable the following benefits. Reduced risk through increased transparency and real inspectable progress at regular intervals. We will have a clearer picture of what is going on and the current state of the product. Problems can be found earlier and then eliminated over time. Higher quality may be possible through regular testing and validation of the product. Earlier value delivery is possible, as we can release increments when it makes sense to do so for the customer and the organization. Increased agility, as we are working on smaller pieces, which means the cost of changing work that is not started will be lower and therefore more possible. This is vital in complex environments where change is inevitable. Less management of the work and people will be required, as the volume of work in progress will be lower and therefore manageable at lower cost. Team members will be closer to the customer and stakeholders and will have more access to the big picture of the product. This can help to keep motivation levels high as people stay connected to the purpose behind their work. Less delays as the scope of the work is smaller inside a sprint. If one person gets stuck and needs help from another specialist, the other person will be present in the team and will be available to deal with the issue much sooner and without a formal handoff. Increased and regular collaboration means problems can be solved faster. When we hit a problem that requires 3 people with different skills, it will be faster for them to get together to address the issue. They will already be team members, so we'll have a common relationship and understanding in place. Their responsibility is common and shared. Develop a done increment each sprint. So Scrum is helping us to simplify some elements of complex product development by keeping the volume of people involved lower, the volume of work in progress lower, and ensuring that we have the skills and experience we may need available at all times inside the Scrum team. The end result is less dependencies and risk. The benefit is increased motivation and agility. The changes needed inside a traditional organisation to create and support cross-functional self-managing teams may be significant. The Scrum Master will support this transition, and it may take substantial time and effort. It requires people to change their identities and ways of working. Do not underestimate the challenge that this may bring. Using Scrum, an empirical approach, comes with a short-term cost if it's new to the people involved. As an aside, it is possible to build a product using Scrum and a number of specialist teams, but this is a scaling topic and something to be covered at another time.